Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alicia and this is Heart and Hand Creations and Events. Today's DIY is going to be a tufted storage bench. If you guys want to see how that's going to turn out, stay tuned. Here we have the supplies that will be used for this project. I will list them in the description box below. So let's get started. Here I'm using the Loctite nail glue to glue my pieces together for extra hold with the screws for my structure. Once I have my pieces glued together and screwed on one side, I proceeded to the other side. I used a hammer and nail to make a hole for my screws because I didn't have the right bits to do a pre-drill. Here you see I continue to use the Loctite nail glue as I proceed to finish building my structure. You see I had a slight issue there with the screw coming through the side panel. I tried to re-drill it to get a better, because the support is not good if all your screws aren't in place correctly. And right here, guys, these are support brackets that are used for the legs and for the bottom panel of the bench. I'll be using the hot glue to install my foam cushions. I was going to use the spray, but the nozzle was clogged and it was too time consuming to try to unclog that. And the hot glue worked out just fine. Right here, this is where I cut off the excess sponge or the foam. And here you see me install the third support bracket. Yep, there we go. It's coming along, guys. Right here, this is where I measure out and cut and sew the material together for the outer lining and for the inner lining. The measurements will be in the description below also. I had to cut out 2 pieces and I sewed them together with a 1/2 inch allowance. And for this piece here, I used a 1 inch allowance. Yeah, that seam, make sure that seam is in the middle, because that, even though it will be the back of the bench, but you still want it to be neat and presentable. I left about 3 inches from the top to be stapled down. And this is what I mean about the 1 inch seam allowance. Make sure that's in the back, or that it's in the middle straight. And here you see me tack down or staple the material all the way around. And this is the top of the bench. I'll be doing the same for the bottom portion. Make sure you straighten and tug on your material at every now and then, because you want it to be nice and not tight, but a firm fit. Here you see me getting the corners done, and here I will be doing the same on the bottom. Once I have stapled the bottom portion, I cut off the excess material, and then I staple down the corners. I also had to bang in I had to use a hammer to bang in the staples, because the staple gun doesn't make the staples flush with the wood, so you have to bang it. And here I will be gluing my material about 2 inches from the top, but as you see, the material is laying on the outside of the bench, and I just glue this all the way around, as you see here. And this is all for the inner lining. And once I've glued my inner lining in place, I used what is called Upholstery. It's for making the trim around the top edge of your box nice and neat. So I cut out 4 pieces of the 1/2 inch upholstery edging trim or cardboard. I stapled it in place right over top of the material. And then I flip the material inside, and here you see the crisp, clean edges. Gives that professional look. Right here I'm using black felt to place this material on top of the bottom panel, and because I didn't have any sponge, I had to use the felt, and this was for cushioning. Didn't want it to seem so hard. In the video from the person that I learned how to make this, he used 1/2 inch foam, but I was determined to not go out and buy another piece of material, and at this point this is where I decided to use what I have at home. And there we go. That's what it looked like on the inside once it's all tacked down. Now right here is where I glue the material to the bottom of the storage bench. Now that I have that all done, I can put the bottom panel in and secure it in place. I will be securing it here on both sides and in the middle. And here it is, guys. The inside is complete. Now to put a covering on the bottom, or lining on the bottom of the bench, I am using a piece of satin from a black satin pillowcase from the Dollar Tree, guys. As I said, I was not going out to buy another piece of material when I figured out what I could use that I had in the house already. And I thought this was a good idea. And this is the end result of the bottom lining, the outside lining for the bottom. What do you guys think so far? Right here I am now fixing the lid to be attached, and what I did was I doubled the foam because I had 1 inch 16 by 16 foam, and I just piece worked it until I had the right fit. And here you see I am cutting out the marked areas where the bench will be tufted. The video that I learned how to make this bench from, the gentleman used 3 inch foam for the lid, but I only had enough for a 2 inch foam. Here I apply the batting. And here the material for the lid is put in place, and I begin tufting. Guys, just wanted to give you a side note. When you are working with material that has a grain that's noticeable, or even if you're working with a pattern print, make sure that your patterns and your prints and your grain all go in the same direction. And this is a Chenel material, so you know this is almost like corduroy without the cords, but you can still see the grain. So you want the grain to all go in the same direction. There we go, it's all tufted. And now we're going to secure the bottom of this lid. I will staple it down, cut off the excess material, and this is the result of that. On this, I will also be using the black satin pillowcase material from Dollar Tree, and the black felt will be placed directly on the board. Also to give it cushion. I cut off the excess material and I fit it all in place, gathered it where it needed to be. And here, guys, you see me using the gold thumbtacks instead of staples. I didn't want the staples to show and have a tacky look, so I thought that the thumbtacks gave it a much classier look. Actually a more tailored look. And here I am putting on the hinge that connects the lid and the base. The lid and the base are being connected with a 12-inch long hinge. I also used 2 extra on either side of that hinge for extra support. And here it is so far, guys. It's coming along. And here we have the legs. And the legs for this bench that I used are 6 inches by 2 1/8. I spray painted them with a soft beige semi-gloss. And these are the brackets for the legs. I didn't want to screw it straight through the fabric and into the wood, so this gives it a more professional, neater look. And it's better support for the legs. I put 2 coats of paint on the legs, guys. And here I just screw them in place. If you like the content that I have put out in this video so far, give me a thumbs up for a like. Oh, right here, I'm using the flat gemstones with the adhesive backing, but I will be using hot glue for the quick hold and fix-all glue for a more permanent hold. Right here, I'm using the vinyl or faux leather ribbon from Dollar Tree, and that's what I use to make the handle for the lid. And I was going to use it to put the chain on as a stopper for the lid, but I didn't get a chance. But here it is, guys. What do you think? This is how it turned out. But I did use chain to connect the lid to the base so that the lid wouldn't flip all the way back, which would mess up the hinges because the screws in the hinges are but so big. But guys, if you like the video that I put out, like I said, give me a thumbs up for a like, hit that subscribe button, and share this video, guys. Yes, and stay tuned for more videos like this. I have more videos to come, more building, more hammering, more drilling. And if you want to see how that will turn out, hit that notification bell so when these videos come up, you will know. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.